Happy evening. This is SessionWell. I am Adam Luke.
I'm Judy Ann.
And we are on our podcast this evening. I am an associate marriage and family therapist. Oh, look, this is on. This is how you know it's going to be live. You know it's going to be live because things happen. Anyways, so I'm associate marriage and family therapist. So is Judy.
Yep.
These guys we'll find out about in a little bit. Again, that threw me off. Anyways, so what is SessionWell? Why do you care about this podcast? What this podcast is we wanted to create a place where if you're a pre-licensed therapist, you're a licensed therapist, or an average person just looking for interventions and help, maybe thinking about doing therapy for the first time, we wanted to have this for you. So we're going to kick it over to who these gentlemen are.
Yeah, so here are two gentlemen that we have also gone to school together. We've worked together. I think we all, I don't know if at the same time we've all been associates together, but we all worked at Hope Counseling Center together, and we all went through the MFT program. So they're just here to join us, and they're just going to tell you guys a little bit about themselves.
Cool. So my name is George Garcia. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I work at private practice at Renovari, so I work there with Jeff. I'm also a supervisor at a company called Starview, so I oversee a support counselor team there.
Nice.
So, and I'm Jeff Ortiz, associate marriage and family therapist, also known as the Love Big Love Wide guy. Sorry, I have to get that in.
Yes, you
are. So, we work at Renovari Counseling in Brea, down the street from where we're at. I'm not gonna say where we're at, but I've been there for 3 years. I also worked at Starview with George, so we run into each other at certain schools and working with different clients in the Long Beach area. So also, would you say, want to put my information out there?
I want everything out there. That's again that other resource.
So I mean, if you want to reach me, Jeff Ortiz, Jeff at Renovari Counseling, and then also Jeff_Ortiz_ LBLW for Love Big Love Wide. And
that's on Instagram.
That is on Instagram.
And trust me, I follow him. You've got to. It's great little snippets of like motivation throughout the day. I've always appreciated it.
And we'll have all their information on the bottom too as well. And where can they reach you, George?
So my email is the same, george@renovaricounseling.com. My handle.
My handle. It shows my age, right? If I don't know a handle.
Yeah, you got it.
Definitely. Yeah. All right.
A little.
Fair enough.
It's okay.
Fair enough.
It's always learning, right?
Yeah. It's George_GEO, not JO. A lot of people get them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
GEO, George_Garcia_MFT.
Perfect.
Nice.
Now, we can say the practice is in Brea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and they're actually in a great area of Brea.
They have a beautiful office. Like, it has this really nice wood background that I think Jeff and his son built.
Yeah, we put it together.
Beautiful.
It took about a week, but we put it together. It's nice. And Chris furnished it, and he's got the eye of a tiger because he put everything in the right spot. So I just did the wall. The wall to me is easy. All the other finishing touches is beyond my scope.
Nice.
So what was really cool about throwing this podcast together and what I'm excited for is when we dig in a little more, though, this is the first podcast that we've done for SessionWell that basically the guests have the topic in their head and I don't really know as much about it.
Okay, yeah, so pretty much how we normally do, the way we get our guests, usually sometimes Adam and I will have kind of like a topic in mind that we want to talk about, and we usually will present it to the guests. What we've been doing lately the last few times, like when Robin was here, when Teresa was here, when Jason was here, and kind of some other people that have been here so far, we just kind of ask them what is on your heart, what do you guys want to talk about? And then these men today have a really special topic, I think. So why don't you guys kind of tell us about why you chose the topic that you chose and what kind of led you here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the topic that we kind of chose was this idea of resilient hope. Overcoming and kind of moving forth in the face of adversity. Obviously we know life throws all kinds of curveballs, fastballs at us, and can be really unpredictable at times. And so I know in getting to know Jeff, he's gone through a lot of difficult times that have really kind of shaped who he is. And at the same time, I've kind of gone through some stuff that has kind of really shaped who I am as well. And so that's something that really drives kind of who we are and what we do and why we do what we do. Is kind of the concept of helping people develop that sense of hope, but a resilient type of hope, to kind of keep moving forward despite the challenges and adversity that they face.
Nice. I love that title. Do you guys, are you okay sharing some of the obstacles you guys have faced in your life that kind of do you think those obstacles have led you also to become an MFT?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't choose this field. I feel like this field chose me, in the sense that I've gone through a divorce and I'm remarried. I'm a marriage and family therapist who went through a divorce. Let that sink in for a little bit, right? Yeah. And so that experience, that hurt and that pain that I experienced at that time caused me to change a lot of things about myself. I'm definitely not the guy that I used to be. Continuing to evolve and change and work on myself, but it was an experience that I didn't just grieve the loss of that marriage. It was a lot of things. Growing up an overweight kid and having those challenges and getting picked on, and it was kind of like I let it out. At that time, I was 28. So I waited till 28 to let all this out, and I'd been carrying all this baggage with me for my whole life, and I let myself feel. I let myself experience the emotions and the feelings that went along with where I was at. I'm pretty sure I was experiencing depression at the time too, and it was a lot of heartache. But I have 2 boys that I love and adore very much. One's a young adult now, and the other one's a junior in high school. So I'm on the other side of the spectrum as far as kids are concerned. Get almost done, sort of. But I'm not counting down because I'm enjoying it. But it's definitely life experience has played a role in me becoming a therapist, becoming just who I am. And I think that's important as a therapist, of knowing who we are and knowing who we want to work with, and how we can utilize our life experience to help people and facilitate that hope and facilitate the resiliency that people have. And a lot of times we have clients and they don't realize all those great things that lie underneath. Yeah. And it's we're working with them, we give them the feedback and they're like, oh, okay. And then when they see that the feedback's consistent, and they start seeing those strengths and those things in themselves that they can carry out, it's amazing. It's an amazing process. And I'm just blessed to be part of that process in every client that I work with, whether it's a teenager, whether it's a couple. I'll share a little bit about couples in a bit, but I think my life experience has played a significant role in bringing me into the field, and because I wouldn't have chosen this field because of how much work it takes to be able to see a client, but now I know, initially I wouldn't have, and it's been a long process. I mean, it took a long time for me to get here, and all I did for those of you who are in grad school right now or thinking about it, one day at a time.
Yes.
I mean, you can't emphasize that enough. One day at a time, and you will get through it, and you will survive, and you will help people. But it's a process that molds and shapes you into the person that I am today. And then I'll continue to be molded and shaped into the therapist and the individual that I need to be to help other people, for sure.
I think, especially when I heard, hey, we're going to talk about resilient hope, I went back to a conversation you and I had 2 years ago. And so, like we were saying, we've known these guys and us as a group for going on probably 6 hours, 6 years now.
Yeah. Not hours, years.
I'm sorry, the monster's kicking in. Anyways, so
it's gone by so quickly though. It's crazy.
But really sitting there, and I remember I was not in that great of a position as an associate marriage and family therapist. I was between sites. I was really, do you keep digging, right? And I remember you sitting there and saying all these. I was throwing out every problem that I thought I had, and Jeff was like, "That's not the problem. That's not the problem. That's not the problem." I'm like, "You stop being a therapist. Those are the problems." And he's like, "No, there's other things. We can get to other things. You've still got movement." And something that's always stuck in my mind from that conversation is let's say we take a boulder, right, and you start chipping away on a boulder. A boulder is being inconvenienced. It's being annoyed. It doesn't see the end picture. You're like, why the heck are you doing this to me? And then all of a sudden it's a statue, right? And everyone goes, wow, look how gorgeous it is, look whatever it was. I mean, but you can stop when you're halfway there. Or there's people that we meet as clients that stop when they're 99% of the way there, right? And resilient hope is about taking that whole picture and saying, it sucks right now, but this is temporary, right?
It's true. And working through that temporary pain, right? We all have the pain point. And then, a lot of us have fear of that. I mean, there's fear of success and fear of failure. I mean, they go hand in hand because they're different. Change is hard.
Yeah.
So when we're working with clients, it's like, what do I got? I got to change, and well, no, you don't have to. Actually, you can remain the same person and keep doing the same things that you are having trouble with, or you can choose to change some things about yourself. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be a slow process, whatever it is at your pace. But it's truly up to them. And anybody we work with, even if we're talking to friends, just say, hey, this is an opportunity for you to do something different. Definitely.
It's asking them how, okay, if you don't want to change up, but how's that working for you? And to me, you stepping into this office tells me that you want to change.
Exactly. It shows courage, right?
It's bravery. Thank you for being in here, but I'll move at your speed. And so the moment this isn't working for you anymore, then okay, let's go, let's move.
Right.
And I think that they're really the only ones that can decide that for themselves, because we can't teach resiliency. We can't enforce it on our clients. I think it's something that with our presence and walking with them in that journey, I think they discover resiliency. I think, honestly, I think the clients always have had it. I think that the fact that they are in the office shows me that you are a resilient person. And I think that it's just for us to reflect that back to them. I think that's really helpful.
When we're so used to, as a society, dismissing that action of just seeking help, right? That doesn't count as anything.
But that is the biggest thing that counts.
Or the other thing that hit me from our conversation, I'm going to bring that back up all night. But anyways, it was the idea also that resiliency doesn't mean that you have to short yourself reprieve, right? A pause. Sometimes, when everything feels like it's not going the right way, failure is not stopping for a second. Failure is not rest.
Yes.
And so many times are we told, oh no, if you stop that, it's never going to happen. You've got to keep going. So you're in a terminal velocity in a direction you do not want to go. That's not working for you. And are you doing it for yourself? Well, no, so-and-so told me to do that. And I just remember that hitting me like a ton of bricks at a Starbucks. Yeah. Of just no. We can take a deep breath.
Right.
Listen to yourself. A lot of hope is also listening to yourself.
Yes.
And I'm glad none of us stopped. I did. I paused.
Oh, yeah.
I paused, took a semester off. I was getting married. We're buying a house. I ended up getting strep throat, and I'm like, And so I asked the doctor. I said, can this be brought up, or can I get this from having too much stress? Yeah, probably. And so, and I'm taking full load class, and I'm working full time, and it overwhelmed me. So I did. I took a pause, and I thought, honestly, I was done. I was like, no, this is not for me. And then after reality set in and things fell in line, we got married, we got the house, and I'm like, what am I doing? I got to go back. Because one of my fears is looking back at what I missed.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm not looking back at what I missed, because I know I've been called to this field to help people. I don't want to miss out on that process, because somebody's going to take my spot. That's for sure. Yeah. And I don't want to miss that. And so that's how I live everything I do. If I can be part of something that's special, I don't want to miss it. And so that's what I do. And aside from therapy, I also help coach a fitness boot camp, and that's been a great opportunity to work with individuals who are working on their physical selves, but also working on the emotional side of stuff, and kind of just facilitating, working through some of the obstacles that they bring with them in life that we would, not in a clinical setting, but just in a way that, hey, have you thought about this? Or, what do you think about that? And I talked about bringing my baggage. So that's one of the themes that we have in the current session of, bringing that baggage. So yeah, what do you think?
What about you, George? Yeah. What brought you into this field?
Yeah. No, yeah. As Adam was kind of talking about that story, I was kind of reflecting on this topic earlier today and just driving. It really be like, okay, I got to come up with something good, because Adam's going to grill me if I don't. But I was kind of just thinking, of what brought me into this field, and kind of this idea of being in exile, and in exile being that the way things ought to be or should be just seems to be losing the battle. And, you know, whether that's, you know, why didn't my parents raise me? You know, which is my personal story of not having my parents in my life. That shouldn't have been the case. I shouldn't have had to go through that. And kind of, you know, other stuff on top of that. But I can look back on my life and find different people that have kind of invested and spoken into my personhood, who have helped maintain and helped me develop and cultivate that resilient hope that's always been there. Because I agree, I think everybody is resilient. There's, you know, it's not like I have a box of resiliency and can give it to my clients. I wish I could. That'd be a whole lot easier than...
Here's a pill.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Right here.
I'm going to take it first, then you can take it.
We'll share, split it up. You know, and so just kind of hearing Adam kind of talk about that and how Jeff, you know, that conversation that you had in that moment, I can just really see, you know, Jeff speaking into your personhood at that time and reinforcing that hope, and that hope becoming a little more solidified, a little more resilient. And, you know, that's a process that, you know, happens over the course of our life, and we never get to the point where we've arrived. And so we're always going to have people to speak into that personhood. And really that's what I look at, you know, my role as a therapist is just sitting with people, you know, like earlier today, sitting with 2 kids and just speaking into their personhood, loving them and just kind of sitting person to person. You know, it's not, you know, my chair's not raised any higher than theirs or anything like that. Right. But, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I really saw that and it kind of reinforced that when you were sharing that story of Jeff kind of talking with you, and, you know, Jeff's done the same for me. Actually, all 3 of you have really done that throughout grad school.
I think this really reinforces what SessionWell is about, but also like the fact that we have been a pretty darn good support group for each other. I think like we've got like a group of 8 or 9 individuals that were in our cohort and weren't, but in this field, it feels like you develop friendship and a familyhood of going through this. Because again, for me, when I hear resilient hope, there's just this reinforcer in me as well that says it's not easy. And I don't mean maintaining it. I mean, what you shoot for when you say resilient hope is not the easy button. And so I was at a point when I was having that conversation with you, Jeff, of like, dude, I've done my 6 years. I got my master's. Where the hell's the easy button? I should be rolling in the dough. There's all sorts of stuff that should be. And we get caught up on the shoulds, or caught up on, and our hope is attached to something that's unattainable. And I thought my financial self was supposed to be different at that point in my time. And he nailed it when he said that is not the thing. Money's always going to be around. And that can be used for everyone. Because I know there's people on their way driving into work right now that are thinking that if they get $5,000 more on their paycheck a year, they will be happy. And that is not resilient hope. If anything, that is compartmentalizing yourself and your abilities. Because really, in the end, I think we've come to understand this a little bit better, is that what we provide to people cannot be linked to the amount of money you charge or the amount of money you bring in at the end of the year. Because guess what? There's amazing therapists that work for $40,000 a year, and other ones that work for $500,000. But it doesn't matter. That's not the number. Your benefit is found in something greater. That's the resilience part.
And I think that, like what Adam was saying, like I think a lot of times what we provide for our clients and like for each other as therapists is like this like human connection that we have and like a sense of belonging. And I think that like if you guys, I don't know if you guys know out there, those of you that are listening, but like all the guests we've had so far, they're not just like random MFTs that we like hit up and go, hey, you want to be on our podcast? What it is, it's like we're all friends. Like we've been to each other's weddings, we've gone to each other's baby showers, we've been to each other's homes. We all have each other's like personal cell phone numbers.
We have awesome holiday parties. And so we pray for each other. We literally reach out and we've asked, like I think literally I've probably asked everybody in this room, like, can you please pray for me in this season? And I think we've all done that for each other in like the high and low seasons that we have. And I think that sense of like connection and support and like a safe space is what
I think that's what our field's about. We don't fix people's problems. We don't make people resilient. We don't, we might provide them hope. I do think that, but I think a lot of it is just that we are in this space with them, and we're just kind of just showing them, like, you already have all the tools that you need to be a healthy, successful person, and we're just kind of here to, like, reflect that back to them, I think.
I think the other thing is also hearing everyone that we've had in this podcast, and really what we've wanted to have is the fact that we're genuine. So I hope that you hear the struggle. I hope you hear the moments that we had where we questioned ourselves, right?
How many? I don't know about you guys, but how many of in here have, like, wanted to quit MFT?
Oh.
Like.
Wait.
Like,
after graduation, no. After graduation, no. But
during any part of this season, oh yeah,
that's
like,
a lot of work.
It
And
is.
I know we all worked. We working full time. We're in relationships, and it's like, oh man,
providing.
What drove me? I'm telling you, what drove me is looking back behind, like, what if I would have stopped? When I'm talking to Adam at Starbucks, I'm like thinking, dude, you don't want to look back and be like, what I miss out on. That's I'm like, no, there's money. It's not money. You got a purpose. We all have a purpose here to help people. I mean, that's why we are in this field, to help people. And so if we walk away from that purpose, I mean, how are we going to sleep at night? It's going to be very difficult, because we're going to be like, I know I should have done that. I set out to do it, then I stopped, and then now what?
Yeah.
And it's a process. And it's, when I was going through the divorce, it was tough. It was really hard. But I knew over time it would get better. I wanted to fast forward, but fast forward didn't work. Fast forward didn't get me to this point so I can help people. It didn't. So working with couples, I'm like, well, if you're going to go that route, it's going to be tough. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. It's got to get watered. If you want it green, it's got to get watered, and it starts with you as an individual. And so, it's a responsibility that we have to own that, and moving forward in life and in relationship with people, and we invest in each other, we invest in our spouses, and that's what it's all about. It's relationships.
So what I'm really hearing from you when you say that is, the failure in whatever I'm doing right now is going to be the failure in the thing I jump to. Because I'm not going to continue doing that. So, like, when you bring up couples, you talk about watering the grass. It's true. You could end this relationship. That might be really easy, because you get to hop into the next honeymoon special.
Oh, that's the best, right?
Like,
at least you got 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, like, you don't...
Only 3 months.
Well, even...
Or only 3 months. That's a good one. 2 years is good, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, you got to think, like, sometimes in just the dating aspect. And people get wrapped up in the dating aspect. Oh, it's so great because we have separate lives. I can lie. I can do all sorts of things.
We don't share
right?
finances.
I never did that, but I'm just saying.
Show my real face.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can always take her out when it's a Friday payday, and then I can always dip out when I have no money.
I sound like somebody's done that before. I don't know.
Hey, we all have our past, and that's what got me to this moment. I didn't fast forward, Jeff.
That's right. No fast forward button. That's right.
But that's the thing that, again, like that moment in Starbucks, you can quit, Adam. But guess what? That's not going to be your first time you quit. You're going to hit a rock in something else. You're going to quit.
Yep.
And that is what you have to bet on yourself. I always tell people go, well, big. So what do you do in therapy? I spend probably 50 minutes of time trying to get people to bet on themselves.
Yeah, that's
and it's literally, that's what we're trying to do sometimes. Sometimes it is. You can put your faith in everything else, but I'm hearing you don't put any faith in yourself. And you're never going to get that hole filled by pouring money into something else, buying a car, doing whatever. Because it's always going to come back to, what's my own personal defect? How am I going to work on that?
Yeah, and I think the way you build resiliency is by going through this process. Like, if someone has a perfect life, why do they need to be resilient? Like, what am I going to be resilient against? Nothing, because my life is perfect and there's no hardship. But that's impossible, because life is really hard. And I think that for all of us, came into this field because we have faced obstacles.
That's right.
The reason I think that we can be so empathetic with our clients is because we get it. It's like, we've all been through this process, but this is your process. And continue to have hope in that, and have hope in yourselves. And so it's kind of like, how do you guys reflect that to your clients? Like, do they know that is your guys' thing, is resiliency and hope? Like, is that like your slogan? Or, I mean, it's great. That title was amazing, I think, first of all.
It might be now.
But I think it's great.
I had to make a shirt like Jeff.
You're the resilient hope
I'll put it
guy.
on the shirt first. Slap my logo on it. Come on now. No, you go. Take it. You want to go first?
Yeah, like, who came up with the title?
Yeah, you gotta take it.
I mean,
we had a couple of different titles, but Kobe over here,
Kobe.
George.
I don't
Beef?
even know Kobe beef.
No,
Kobe beef.
Cow costume.
Yeah.
there you go.
I can get you guys one if you guys want.
Oh, please.
I like it.
We're going to have to sew two together for me, but we'll make it work.
That's not true. Positive self-image.
Hey, no.
Positive self-image.
You're going to need that body cam thing.
And
We
we'll
got
all
you,
go
man.
to-
Yeah,
we'll all
let's
go
go. Oh man.
Coach Jeff.
Yeah, Coach Jeff. And Coach DJ. You gotta meet Coach DJ. He's gonna.
Yeah.
He'll get you, man. You better be careful
You'll
what you
hit
ask
me up
for.
at the end of session. Well, the hope is you're going to be a really good therapist. Don't know about that.
Yeah.
Go back to where you were.
Resilient hope. Come on, we got off track.
Sorry,
I think we got off
tangent.
track.
That's what happens when friends get together,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Inside jokes.
Yeah. I mean, we were just kind of playing around with different topics, and this sounds too short. This doesn't really kind of fit with what we're kind of thinking. And then, I've always had in mind just this concept of people are always standing at a crossroads, and no matter where you turn, there's always hope. And hope is never too far gone that you can't find it. And one of the cool things I think therapy offers is a chance to connect with another human. And I think, Judy, you mentioned earlier is just kind of being with another person, human to human. And that's something very unique about therapy because, if you think a lot of times, with shame and depression, that stuff grows in isolation. That's like one of the first things we do. And, in therapy, it's almost a way like you're combating that right off the bat just by being with another person. So this idea of resilient hope, I don't know, I was just kind of playing around with different topics, and I had pressure because he's over here texting me,
Well, because I was serving him out, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? He's like, I don't know about that one. I said, all right, Kobe.
Yeah,
come on.
and I'm at a concert.
Let's go.
And he's like, Kobe, I need my title, and he's leaving me voice messages. Like,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know he was at a concert, but I was like, buddy, what are you doing? We got to set this
Guys,
title.
you're not texting back.
Yeah. Is it over? Like, tell me
yeah.
what I did. What I did wrong? Breaking up with me?
right.
It was only like 20 minutes.
Literally.
I got a little
probably
insecure.
10. It was probably 10 minutes.
But you guys came up with it, so that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
it just kind of stuck with, picturing, each client at a crossroads of hope. And, going back to kind of your sculpture, like when you're chipping away at this boulder and, you can stop at whatever point and never get to the finished product or see, what can really come out of that boulder. And it's a lot of hard work that goes into it. And with therapy, I mean, we have like the unique and really cool opportunity to show people the different tools that they have to chip away at the rock and start to sculpt. And I think that's one of the things that we really try to, through a variety of different ways, convey that to clients. And, I was telling Jeff before we got here, I had a client recently tell me, he just feels like he's very apathetic to change altogether. And, but he's been coming for like a month, 2 months or something. And, I looked at him, I'm like, well, is it really apathy if you're coming here every single week? You're like, I'm giving you homework to reflect on and you're doing it. Like, is it really apathy, or is it maybe we're just still discovering the tools that you already have to really create that change? And, I mean, that wasn't something that I wish I could come, dream something like that overnight, but it was just something that I gathered looking at him as a person. And it just kind of came out, and it really hit home for him. And I think kind of hit him like, oh, okay, maybe I do have the tools, and I'm going somewhere. And just kind of seeing him go through that process and being able to give himself credit for what he's done. So there's moments like that just kind of really birthed out the idea of hope and resilient hope for me. You know, and then I threw it out to Shaq over here, and
I said, "Boy, Kobe, you served it up great."
you know,
it's go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I lobbed it up to him like Kobe did
In the playoffs.
Portland.
Yeah.
Oh.
Greatest comeback ever, but we're not going to talk basketball
Yeah,
right
we
now
won't talk
because
about
we'll get off on the
Yeah,
tangent.
we're gonna be here for all night.
And one of the things that he's talking about, the resiliency, also us being therapists, like connecting with our clients and connecting. I mean, we just connect with people. That's just who we are.
Yeah.
That's a quality gift that we have because we care about people. And I've watched George, you know, over the years, and Adam, all of us, we care about people. Whether we're getting paid for it or not, we care about people.
Yeah.
And that's what I think helps us stand out in the people that I know that are within our circle, our tribe, or whatever we call us. We care about people, and it's putting people first. You know, and that's where it comes full circle. It'll come around. You know, there's gonna be a time where Adam, I need some help. He's like, all right. Let's go. I'll bring my chisel. Let's go to work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's life. You know, that's life. Marriage is great. It's great at times, and at times it can be a challenge.
Yeah, it takes
You
work.
know, yeah, and especially when you start figuring things out, you're like, wait, but this is with my wife. I know she's watching.
Hi, Veronica.
One of the things.
Confidentiality.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Veronica. This is her
She's
name.
awesome.
Wasn't that with Kobe? Anyways, keep going.
So you know, we're married. The toilet paper roll, it's got to go a certain way.
my God.
The one that got me the most was the forks in the dishwasher. And
Oh, yeah, they have to go. Well, I go up.
yeah, see, I go up too. Actually, I don't really care. I just throw them in there, right? So they're in there. She's like, "Why are they up? You're gonna stab yourself." And I'm like,
Oh, that makes sense.
"I don't know." I said, "My son did it. I think it wasn't me." I was like,
Which one won't you do? Youngest one.
That's all right. But it's simple things like that.
Yeah.
And you just think about all the different things we learned from our families growing up. And then we're like, oh yeah, we want to be married, but we do things different. And so it's meshing that together. There's very similar in the relationship process of learning our client, them learning us, that, you know, and I'm pretty open with my clients. I just, hey, you know, this is what I experienced. And so I get it, but it's not here for me. I'm here for you. Mm-hmm. So we can work through whatever it is that, you know, you need to see. And I love the resilient hope. When you came up with it, I was like, yes, that's perfect, because it speaks to what's already, like you said, what's already inside them. It truly is there. And then you think about, well, their vision for the future and their dreams, but those are theirs. Like, they're already in you. So why not go for them? Because I'm telling you, you don't want to look back and be like, what if? That what if, that gets me, man. That gets me fired up. I'm like, I'm not going to, no what if.
Because those voices that are telling you right now you cannot do it are going to ask you in 40 years
Why
from
didn't
now,
you?
why didn't you?
Yeah. No. Because 40 years go like this.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, it already went that fast for me. I'm not 40, though.
Yeah,
I'm not
you're-
40.
I thought you turned 20 again.
I'm 41. I'm not 41. I'm not 40. But, you know, it's one of those things that it's in us. We love people. We care about people. And then it's just a whole relationship. You know, that's what I appreciate about Hope and the environment and the people that were there and the instructors.
Hope International. We all went to Hope International.
Yeah, Hope
University.
International University. And just, it was amazing. I mean, to meet quality people like you, that we're going to be friends forever. I mean, this is not...
We're stuck with each other, guys.
We're going to end up in the same
retirement home?
Oh, yes.
Or whatever it's called?
Assisted living type. Yeah.
Assisted living.
Well,
Hey, there you go.
And we'll come in and out of the fog, right?
I'm like, there's Adam the cheater with checkers. Because you know we ain't playing chess at that age. You know, like, chess is all gone. But,
And our tagline at Hope International was, it's all about the relationships. And like, I think that is what makes it such a beautiful institution, because I think we really took that and we took it outside of school. And so many of us, because like we were all from different, I don't think any of us, well, maybe did you guys graduate the same cohort?
Yeah, Adam and I did.
Yeah, but like all of us, like I think out of all of us, like I think I started first, and then it might have been Jeff. And so none of us are from the same cohort, but we're all like really good friends. It's because in the program, they always kept emphasizing that. It's always self-care and make relationships.
Yeah.
Well, if we know anything from like psychodynamic perspective, right? If we try to be fake and say like we don't have problems, that's going to bleed into our session. So I think the reason why I sit here with 3 other highly capable therapists is because we have never shied away from our struggles and what we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that's what people are hearing on the podcast right now, is that we're human as well.
Yeah,
we don't have everything together. I failed to do my mindfulness exercise when someone cut me off on the way here this evening.
Right.
I mean, so I did some verbal processing.
Yes.
But I mean, you have...
That is a great reframe.
You definitely have... What I want you to hear is the fact that the more real you are in this process, whether you are on the right side of the room or the left side of the room, whichever chair you're in, that is what you're going to get out of it. And that's what's hope. When I hear you say resilient hope, I can't help but think of all the times in life that, yes, we as people have boxed that hope up, right? We've put things in front of it because we've had people tell us, that's stupid, you know, you don't do that, you got this obligation. And so, yeah, it's inside. That fire is inside. That lantern of like, just boom, is there. It's just like, trust me. Trust yourself to turn it on.
Yeah. And it's life-giving because it
Absolutely.
exudes out of everything we do.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, is to always guide our clients into a way of giving their life away to other people, so then that people see, wow, look at the greatness in that individual. Look at the love coming out of that individual. This is, wow, it's amazing.
Because what I think about is, I think when we always hear these stories of like, okay, so if any of us are traveling or we're at Starbucks or whatever, people are attracted to that, right? There's a magnet to that. And why is there a magnet to that? I've loved it because I've thought of it of my blessing and curse, and it's not so much a curse anymore. Because if I am being me, if I'm really finding happiness and joy and just thankfulness in where I am, people come up to you, right? 6 months ago, I was at the airport, a place you don't want to talk to anyone. Hey, can you sit down? What do you do? Momentary lapse. I'm a therapist. Boom! Here we are, 4-hour session with a cancellation of the flight. Yeah. But no, you know, I had an absolute blast in the fact of just being me, right? And the more that we allow that, and don't try to hide it, because you have sometimes that magnetic personality that can actually help someone else in what they're doing.
I think sometimes a lot too, like clients can see like through you guys, like the fact that, like, I think that I'm hoping that they don't see us as perfect people. You know, because
I remind them, I ain't perfect.
Exactly,
that's for sure.
because I don't think we can connect with perfection because it's so unrealistic. And so I think that through just like your personalities and like the love that you guys show for your clients, I think they can see the fact that you guys have been resilient in your own personal lives. And that you guys are hopeful, not just for like in your own life, but like hopeful for them. And I think that really encourages your clients a lot. Has there been anything that's been, because our MFT journey isn't over. Like a lot of us, some of us aren't licensed yet. George is licensed, but we're very proud of you. But has there been any challenges in your MFT journey that has made Resilient Hope resonate with your own personal life?
Yeah, I mean, I could speak to even what I spoke to Adam about. It's like the whole process. You know, I had this, I'm going to be licensed, I'm going to have my own practice, I have all the, you know, all these goals and dreams, and then it's not there. And it takes more work than I thought it was going to take. And it's like, oh man, this is really a process. And so now putting more information out there about me, who I am as a person, and then kind of working in different, you know, doing different things. Just Jeff Ortiz, yeah, I'm also a therapist, but I'm a husband, I'm a father. You know, I wear all these different hats, and so it's just kind of growing through that whole process. And the therapist is also growing, and as a professional, it's also growing. And you know, no matter what I do, I'm just going to continue to grow. And yeah, there's struggles in it every day. That's no doubt about it. And you know, sometimes I struggle with a client and not like, I'm overwhelmed, you know, but it's taking a step back. Okay, if I'm overwhelmed, what am I overwhelmed with? Is it because I'm not sure of what I'm doing, or is it the situation? And then coming to resolve and you know, working with my supervisor and figuring out, okay, hey, let's take this, you know, let's try this, let's try that. And so we have a team of people that, you know, we surround ourselves with that help us during those times when it becomes difficult. You know, I've seen George, I've seen him out and working and doing, and he takes time and he puts in the effort, and he's getting his doctorate, and it's like, wow, this man. I told him on the way over here, I said, you're gonna be my boss one day, but you're still gonna wash my car because you're my little brother. He's like, he said some other things that I'm probably not gonna let him wash my car. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna say, but
I totally got something totally different.
So company check and details.
Right, yeah. So I'll be working for but I mean, there's just it's a tough journey. Whether it's life, whether it's a profession such as marriage and family therapy, we're gonna go through some things that are gonna be adverse. But stopping is not. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and having I can relate to literally what day is today? Thursday. I remember on Tuesday I was on my way. I had already taught all day. And it just was like a really hard day, like at work, because I had to like make a CPS report and blah, blah, blah. But then I remember going to the elevator, and our counseling center is on the 9th floor. And so from 8 to 9, the floors, I basically was alone in the elevator, and I just closed my eyes and took a deep breath, and I almost started crying because I was just so like, just a hard day. And I remember going in, the first person I saw was Heather Silva. Hi, Heather. Who also is a fellow MFT and like one of my best friends. And I remember just going into her office and I was like, dude, I literally almost started bawling. And she's like, you know what? Take tomorrow off, like do all these like self-care things, cancel your sessions, like just take care of yourself. And sometimes it's just hearing someone else tell me that it's okay to like do that for myself. I think helped me be able to be like, okay, like we all face adversity and obstacles, but like it's gonna be okay. Like just take a break, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad MFT or bad son, daughter, father, teacher,
means
whatever.
You're a human being.
Means you're human.
Yeah.
And then the next day you continue and you have hope and you're refreshed and you continue and do the journey that like God kind of like set out for all of us. Has there been anything in your life, like in your MFT journey, George, that has made you go okay, like I need to be resilient, I need to have hope?
Yeah, I think one of the things that has kind of really helped me to kind of cultivate that within myself is kind of slowing down the process a little bit to reflect on different experiences throughout the journey. Because when I graduated, it was like, I did the 2-year track, so I was trying to get in and get out. And actually, one of the things that I found solace, and I don't know if I've ever shared this, was actually Adam was on the 2-year track too. He was, on the path to get married. And so I'm like, okay, that someone else is kind of crazy like me. We're just, and we're both working full time, going to school at night, doing the traineeship and all that. And it was just insane.
Which was crazy because we would come in our work clothes, right? And so like I'm coming in with my, I would come in my mechanics gear and he would come in his Target gear. Yeah. And like we would have that reflection of like sometimes looking at each other and realizing like we put in a full day's worth of work and we're going to be here for 5 hours. Yeah. Like fist bump and watch. Right.
Yeah. And then, even afterwards, I did a job at another place for about 6 months, and then Jeff got me hooked up at Starview, and it was literally just running 100 miles an hour trying to get all these hours done. I was wasting no time trying to get these tests out of the way and studying and trying to get licensed, and I realized that I was robbing myself of the opportunity to really grow as a person, as a clinician, by not stopping to reflect on the different people that I've encountered, the different experiences that I've had that have really shaped me today. And so I'm trying to be more intentional about slowing down a little bit and just thinking about some of those moments and some of those people, like, coming and showing up and seeing, okay, I'm not the only one in work clothes. Smelling like their job today, sitting in class.
Unfortunately, Target was a lot better than a mechanic's thing.
Well, people made fun of my lunch a lot. My dinner when I would come to the class. So I don't know how good I smelled, but
you made fun of his lunch.
I never made fun of George. I never made fun of him. I didn't even know what you're talking about.
He got mad because I opened it.
That's not me. About his broccoli.
Yeah, he got mad because I opened the broccoli.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I don't like cold broccoli.
It's got to be hot broccoli.
It's got to be hot.
Yeah.
And I went to eat, and Jeff.
But I think something that I really learned through you guys as well is also, so I've always been a guy that I have to have goals and chase them, right? But then your goals can go from assets to liabilities, right? And so I remember that time that I reached out to Jeff, and if you've ever reached out to Jeff in certain ways, he can be extremely frustrating. Not if you're looking for therapy, but as a therapist, one-to-one, because I remember him saying, I'm not in competition with you. And I was like, I need you to be in competition with me, buddy, because I need something to push me right now, and I need something to chase, and I'm not in competition with you right now. And then I remember when I heard, like, you're killing it on the doctorate thing. I want a doctorate so bad. It's one of my goals. I will get there one day. Mm-hmm. But it's the realization that, like, again, why we had similar paths at one time, our paths are different now. Mm-hmm. We've got different obligations. You're raising families. Mm-hmm. You've got your wife. I got my wife. We've got different lives, right? Mm-hmm. And so that resilient hope is also the idea that, again, this is temporary. Mm-hmm. It is going to happen as long as I keep it there to chase. As long as I continually every day wake up and say, what am I going to pour into myself that's going to help me get to tomorrow? And so I've always appreciated that. And it was a real big mind click for me of like, okay, it's not a thing of like, oh, they're doing this, I'm stuck here. Mm-hmm. What is my battle? You know, mm-hmm. One of the best sayings my mentor gave me was, have you ever tried fighting a fight and watching another fight? You get punched in the face.
That's right.
And it's true. I mean, not that I would know, but in bar fights, focus on what's in front of you. So
you better.
And that's life, right?
Yeah.
We've all seen that picture of that swimmer looking over at Michael Phelps as Michael Phelps gets the gold, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Swim your race. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You will get to the end. Yeah, it's not about
anybody else's journey but your own.
Yeah, and that goes for clients too. You know, hey, let's focus on you. You know, there's always going to be external circumstances that are this, and this, and you know, that victim mentality will come out. It's like, whoa, let's empower you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How can we do this different? You know, let's reframe that thought process. You know, reframe to build a house. That's what I like reframe like crazy. And so it's, you know, there's these strengths here. This is what you've allowed me to learn about you. This is what I see that are great qualities about you, significant strengths, resilient hope inside you. Where do you want to go with it?
There you go.
Where do you want to go with it?
So what are 3 things that you guys would like to tell people out there that are just kind of going through a really rough time? I mean, especially as we enter this holiday season, which is kind of what we talked about with Teresa Wilcox last week, is just in this busyness of holidays and expectations and financial strain and all this stuff. Like, what would you like to tell anyone out there that's kind of going through just a hard time?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the first things that comes to mind, you know, one of the most healing things that we can do is connect with another person, which is, you know, doesn't necessarily have to be through therapy, but just connecting with another human being on an emotional or relational level, you know, which is, again, the really cool thing that therapy offers us the chance to do with another person, is just to be with them. You know, and especially, you know, thinking of men, you know, being so shamed for doing that, for being emotional or being in touch with their emotions and reaching out for help. That's, you know, I mean, at Starview, I worked with kids from 6 to about 13, and I mean, there was only a handful of them that were ever willing to say in front of other people that, you know, I need help, because they either saw themselves as weak, they saw themselves as girly, as feminine, and all of this. And, you know, I think that's something that we, you know, also have the chance to kind of speak into, and us being men in the field, have a unique opportunity to show them something different. Yeah. So I think just not being afraid to connect with other people, you know, and seeking help when we need it, being vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, being a big love white guy, I'm going to say love. I mean, we love people, especially during the holiday season, because we're going to see people that we may not be fond of, you know, family that we're kind of forced to see at a time, you know, of year that everybody sees each other. And being able to set aside some of those differences, just to give you the freedom to live and be who you want to be. I think that's really important. Reduce expectations of what you may have in life. That doesn't mean reduce goals, but reduce expectations, make them realistic. Mm-hmm. You know, unrealistic expectations, they hurt us. They do nothing but put us in a spiral downward. And so it's, you know, realistic expectations of yourself, of other people. You know, sometimes I need you to do this, and I need you to, like, they're not capable. You know, when working with couples, I'm like, oh.
Strength,
yeah. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's possible. And we ask the spouse, like, no, that's not. So it's, you know, we're putting these expectations on people, you know, and what George says, slow down.
Oh, that's a good one.
Slow down. Like, let's just take it easy. We're not sprinting. This life is a marathon, and it's over in the blink of an eye anyway. So enjoy it. Enjoy every little step along the way, every relationship, any interaction that you have with people. Know that you're making a difference. You're making a difference in your life, and you're making a difference in the people around you. I mean, hearing Adam's, I'm like, I actually forgot about that. And like, oh yeah, now I remember. And it's like, wow, I didn't, you know, I was just being Jeff. And that's what we do. And there's going to be a time where I need Adam to be Adam, and I'm going to, and George to be George, and Judy to be Judy. And I just need to talk to you. And I, you know, whatever it is that you have inside to give back in wisdom or in love or in care and connection, that's what I'm going to need. I know that, you know, I spent a lot of my life keeping people at a distance.
Yep, same.
Because I was hurt and I had pain, and man, I go through the divorce and I'm like, I know I need people. I know I need people. I was doing it wrong. I was doing it absolutely wrong, and I liked people, but I didn't love them. I didn't connect with them like I do now.
There you go.
You know, it's not this level of connection. No, this is beautiful, and I love what I do. I love just being who I am, and that no matter what I'm doing, everything I do. So those are my 3 takeaways.
So for people listening in on the podcast, I want to ask, what does love big, love wide mean?
Yeah. So love big, love more than yourself. You know, we hear about, oh, you gotta love yourself. Yes, you have to you have to respect yourself and love yourself. Cool. But love bigger than yourself. Have a purpose. So it's, you know, connecting with people, connecting with an organization, connecting with some sort of charity. Love big, right? And love wide. I think about Jesus on the cross. As far as the east is from the west, he loved everybody. He gave it up, you know, and that's where my faith plays a role in that. So love wide. And so it's just love big, love wide, do it every day, do it with everybody around you. And so, yeah, that's where it came. And it was definitely a God thing, because it just like popped in my head. I'm like, yeah, that's good. You know, of course it's good. It came from him, you know. I'm not questioning him, boy.
Right.
But I love that piece about love big, because it can be a small action, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't discredit how big of an impact a small gesture is.
That's right.
Like when I sent a text and was like, Jeff, do you have time to talk to me at Starbucks?
That's right.
And again, sometimes we dismiss that. Sometimes we don't have to necessarily provide a lot. Sometimes we're like, well, I can't feed this person, or we can't go out to this restaurant. Sometimes it is just momentary time together. Yeah. And I think we've all shared conversations in a parking lot, structure, outside of class.
Conversations.
That's
just
right.
where it was a session of just like, yeah, today's rough, tomorrow's going to be rough, this week's going to be rough. But there was this guarantee of like, well, I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll see you next week, and it's coming around. So thank you for being
thank
willing
you guys
to share
for
that.
like sharing your love, being here with us, and like with everyone that's listening. Are there any comments or anything or questions?
So yeah, we need to check our cell phones, because Ernesto hit us up and said, "What a great group! Love this topic. Check your cell phones." So I have no idea what that means.
Check yourself.
So Ernesto is my current supervisor at CAF Family Therapy. He was also Adam's supervisor at one point. And he is friends with these guys, he's awesome.
He's great. If you're watching Ernesto, we love you. Thank you for all that you do.
And you're going to be on here too at some point when you're done with all your busyness. And he's also having a MFT get-together at the Huntington Beach office this Friday. I think at 7 o'clock. So those of you that are MFTs, if you want to join him in that mixer, feel free to do so. And all of you that were watching, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great night, and thank you guys for being here.
Before we kick it off, though,
just kidding.
We have gifts for you.
Oh, we do have gifts for you guys for all of our guests.
Please, those are your gifts.
We give out
Christmas.
mugs.
Yes.
Christmas came early.
Christmas came
It
early.
So
Judy
is an exceptional gift giver. Her love language is giving gifts for sure, without a doubt. She does a great job at giving gifts. So I'm really excited to see what.
Yeah, you gotta explain.
I'm sorry for the packaging. I didn't have time to wrap it.
Well, so Therapy Merch has
Yeah.
come alongside and decided they want to help us out a little bit. So we have gifts for all of our guests.
Yeah. You don't open the box.
Yeah.
What?
I would have wrapped it
Trouble.
pretty, but I.
Yeah, you have to
Sorry.
decompartmentalize.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So these are mugs for you guys. They're just like
Yeah,
cheesy
excellent.
little like MFT jokes.
You got to read yours.
So you can drink hot
Excellent.
cocoa out of it.
Hot cocoa or coffee.
Or coffee.
Jeff does-
Hot cocoa for me.
Okay.
So what does the drawing
So-
look like?
Let's see.
Show
So
them the
this
video.
looks like me in what, like 20, 30 years?
He's a banana
Okay.
A little further out, 40.
Yeah.
and
40
yellow.
years. Yeah. How does that make you peel?
That's when you're not playing basketball anymore.
And supposed to be
Yeah.
Freud-ish.
So it's a therapist asking a banana, how do you peel?
See, it's MFT humor, guys.
How about you, Jeff?
And then mine's avocado. Avocado is my love language. So you got an avocado and a piece of toast.
See?
Sitting on the
Love
couch
big,
holding
love
hands.
wide.
Love big, love wide.
Now-
And then avocados. They're good.
Was this
Keto.
purposeful? In this mug being for me, that mug being for Jeff?
Yes,
Of
when I
course.
was looking at my
She's a
mugs.
gift giver.
Because I also,
know.
I
I'm
also
trying
have
to get
another
it.
one.
I knew it was
gonna-
up for the explanation
yeah,
for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, oh, like you're funny and sometimes cheesy humor, George.
It's not cheesy, it's
Because when I
funny.
asked
It's
him
funny.
for
It's not
a,
cheesy.
it is pretty
Let's-
funny.
let's be
When I
real.
asked him
It's
for
really
a
funny.
headshot,
Let's be real.
South quick.
It's funny.
See
when I
you guys.
asked
Very
George
good.
to give me his title, like for the podcast, and then a picture, like a headshot, he sends one. He wrote George, aka Kobe. That's his title, and then his other things. He sent me a headshot of him in a couch suit, so you can see that.
Which she actually used.
Yeah, which
She actually
used.
used it, yeah. That's,
So,
Yeah.
joke's on
But
me.
that was big for you. And then that one
Yes.
because like yes, you love big love white, and you also like eat really healthy. So like
Yeah.
avocado toast is like the
Keto.
new hipster
Jeff
way of
Keto.
being
yeah,
healthy.
yeah, keto. Definitely.
Jeff
But thanks
Keto.
guys for being here. Thank you guys for joining us
Yes,
on a
thank
Thursday
you.
night. We hope you guys have a good rest of your week.
See you guys.
Bye.